We've got to learn that industrial disorder breeds social disorder. In other words, the community suffers. Adam Smith, who was the founder of Wealth and Capitalism, said in his book, The Wealth of Nations, he said, listen, employers and owners, there's one thing you have to learn and be humble about, and that is you wouldn't have any wealth if it wasn't for the workers. Your wealth is built on the workers, and here the workers are saying to the wealthy people, for God's sake, let's sit down and get this bloody thing over, because we've got to get on with more important things, which is to look after our children, look after our neighbourhoods.
We're also pleased that we've got turnout from a number of other unions, because that's the message that we want to give out today, that our movement is based about people coming out and helping each other, and unity is strength. Now, the union movement knows for some time what areas need to be addressed to fix the problems with productivity in this nation. It's not a case where employers should be blaming wages and conditions. It's not acceptable that employers should be blaming their workers. But we know the major problem that we have in this country is the capability of management. And now we're seeing it play out here with the incapability of Energy Australia to reach an agreement with their employees for the future. And why is that? Because they know that the unions are at the forefront of the major disputes we've had in this country over the years. Those unions have achieved hard-won conditions that many workers take for granted. Annual leave, sick leave, superannuation, redundancy. They were all achieved through struggle, and central to everything that unions stand for are the rights of workers to come together and campaign collectively, to bargain collectively, to sit at the table and negotiate a genuine deal and a fair outcome. And that's why we need stronger laws to compel employers to bargain in good faith, not weaker laws that give employers such as Energy Australia more power. And I want to end on this note, and a clear message to the Yallourn 75. Look around you. It's not only that the CFMEU are in your corner, the ACTU is backing you in, you've got unions right around the country that'll back you in, and we all know that when workers are united, we'll never be defeated. Thank you very much.
At the moment, the CFMEU has never been more unified, it's never been as strong, it's never been as active as it is today. You people at Yallourn know, you workers know, that we are behind you 100%. Every single division, every single district, every single branch, every single member, everybody's family communities are behind you. You won't have to look around when you look for support, because we're going to be there. And we're going to be there today, and we're going to be there tomorrow, and if we have to be, we'll be there every week and every month. For you and for all workers, all our members. If there's a dispute in the construction industry, the whole of the CFMEU will be mobilised. If there's a dispute in the manufacturing industry, the forestry industry, the pulp paper industry, the whole CFMEU will be mobilised. If there's a dispute with BHP or Xstrata, we'll mobilise all our members. We are going to live by the motto, touch one, touch all. That's our union. We're here to say this. You might think you're going to win, but you're not. You think you might prevail, but you won't. Because wherever there is a CFMEU member, wherever there is a member of the trade union movement, we will resist you, we will fight you, and at the end of the day, we will win.
My name's Colleen Harland. I represent the western suburbs, but I spent my first 17 years in Meulen, and my dad worked at the briquette factory. So this is not just about politics, this is personal. I can remember standing on picket lines with my dad. I can remember the times that we got locked out in the 60s and 70s, and this is not good enough. People should not be locked out of their workplace. Families can't exist from week to week, let alone being locked out for 8 weeks. The Greens will stand with you, and we will do anything we can to assist you.
And the Andrew Bolts of the world will say, why have you got Greenies like me or Cam Walker speaking at your rally? They want to shut down power stations like Yallourn and Hazelwood. And in our work with unions and workers and the community in the Valley, we've been really clear that the climate crisis does require that we replace these power stations as soon as possible. But modernising these power stations does not mean hanging workers out to dry. It does not mean locking them out of decisions about the future of their operations, and it does not mean running a power station into the ground like a clapped out car, as is happening and as companies like China Light and Power may well do. We know that free market thinking won't deliver investment plans for Gippslands, it won't deliver the phased and planned replacement of power stations. We'll get sudden closure decisions made in Hong Kong or made in Paris, no notice for workers and no plan B for the Latrobe Valley.
It's not just the husbands. It's the husbands, the wives, the children, the grandparents. It's a whole damn community that's been hurt because of these people, because of their inability to negotiate, because their inability to talk to us. We are human beings, the same as you. We are not asking for anything unusual. We're only asking for the same as what the others have. Please, come and talk to us. Come and talk to our husbands so they can go back to work. You try living for 8 weeks without pay and see how good you can do it. It stinks. And honestly, we have had a gutful of it. Come out of your bloody ivory tower, talk to us, treat us like human beings, and damn well negotiate so that we can get on with living our lives, maybe even managing to save a little bit.
We understand that coal has been the cornerstone of jobs and economic activity for decades, for generations. We understand that everything changed with privatisation. We understand since then that for communities in the valley it's been nothing but kickings, job loss, outsourcing, lockouts, disputes, and this current lockout is entirely unacceptable, certainly to trade union members, and of course that's what we are, but more broadly to the community. This issue is now jumping the ship from the traditional trade union movement into the broader community, and that's because as Australians we expect workers to have a fair deal. We expect there to be good faith in negotiations. We expect people to be well paid, well respected, with good conditions for the labour that they contribute.
If they do not come to the table, if they refuse to negotiate with our democratic unions, if they insist on having rights before the law that do not apply to our unions, and let me explain that. If that protest down there, all of a sudden tomorrow, stop the trucks going in, then the union and the workers can be sued. That's called a secondary boycott, because you're hitting a second company. But Yallourn can bring scabs in the gate. A secondary workforce to achieve an industrial outcome. So before the law in this country, we are unequal. And that cannot be. And I want to put it to you today, that if they refuse to negotiate with our democratic bodies, then they'll get an undemocratic one. And I want to ask you the question, if the time comes and we have to take off union colours and get in buses and go down and shut Yallourn, will you join me? Yeah! Will you join me? Yeah! Will we shut it? Yeah! Listen up, because that's what's coming at you if you refuse to negotiate with the democratic structures of our workers' organisations in this country.
There was a CFMEU, one of our members, Bob Carnegie, that was up on some serious charges in Queensland over a pretty volatile dispute with a building company, Abbey Group. He was looking at about 4 to 5 years jail for contempt of court. We got the word this morning he attended court and he was found not guilty on all charges. What Energy Australia have got to realise, you are not now taking on 75 workers and their families. You are now taking on 110,000 CFMEU members across the country and also the rest of the trade union movement.
We are just one example. You could be next. So support us and turn away from Energy Australia.